Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. Never in my life had I celebrated more than this for a Lazio goal, and I just leaked the lineup after ages. I'm sorry, I kept on delaying this live stream because I was going to wait until the end of the Lazio Juve game. Perfect result. It could not have been more perfect than this. 1-1 draw. Now we can control Monday's game like we want, in a sense that even a draw on Monday wouldn't be that bad. Let me just turn my television off because I can hear Yannick Sinner playing from this room. Apologies. Sorry, I was watching the tennis and I kept the volume a bit too high. Right, it's been a while. Yes, it has. And we're here, Atalanta on Monday. The pros and cons on playing on a Monday are that pressure is on yourself. But the good thing, especially in this case, preparing Monday's game, knowing the Lazio and Juventus drew is completely different in the minds of our players if Juventus had won today. Because had Juventus won this game, my friends, we were forced to win on Monday. Now, I'm not saying that we must, play for a draw, park the bus, get the golden point in a tough ground in Bergamo. We must try and win. But this result allows us to keep the positivity going even if we draw, which is not a bad result in a ground that we always struggle in against a team which is our dark beast. Atalanta is our dark beast, especially in recent times. Every time we travel to Bergamo, we get slapped, we get kicked, and we get bullied. Times have changed. Atalanta don't have much to play for. Yes, is it Gasperini's last few games? For Atalanta, a lot of things to say and speak about when it comes to analysing Atalanta. A lot of things to say when speaking about us. Bring it on. I mean, these next three games, this will be the critical one. I think Monday's game decides 80% of our European journey for next season. It does. I think Monday's game, of course, we've got Milan next Sunday, which is not an easy game, and then we've got Torino away. But the game on Monday pretty much sets the tone and sets the stage. It doesn't confirm anything, but Monday's game is the game which can tell us in which European competition we can place one of our 2 feet in. Very important. It's a massive game. It's an absolutely massive game. But look, it's been a while. I mean, if you're ecstatic that Lazio drew that game, I need you to hit that like button. 100 likes on this video. 3 games to go. Another season altogether. Done and complete. Not yet. Not done and dusted. But we're on the verge of completing another season. If you enjoyed it, if you're ready for this final rush, if you're ready to let some tears out next weekend for Claudio's farewell at the Stadio Olimpico, if you're ready to know what European stage we will be playing next season, and if you're ready to know who our next manager is, hit the like, subscribe, and buckle up because these next few weeks are going to be absolutely crucial. Right, it's time to look at the game. It's time to look at this game, what it means, and I would like to start off with Atalanta. Because Atalanta is our nasty pet. Atalanta is that evil dog that you always... Atalanta's that evil dog that every time you get back home from work, he bites your ankle. He starts... those little dogs... It's that annoying little dog that we can never beat. It's that annoying little... I would call it a bitch rather than a dog that we always struggle, especially when we go there in Bergamo. And it's always that manager, Gasperini, who's always had something against us. And every time we play against Gasperini, he transforms Atalanta into prime 2010 Inter. So, look, does this game worry me a bit? This game only worries me because of our record. Realistically speaking, this game only worries me because of our past in Bergamo, because of recent results against them, and because this this concept of Atalanta always slapping the shit out of us. But if you put things onto a realistic side of things, we should be the favourites because we are in a better form than them, because we've got more to play for than them. And yes, okay, I don't expect us to win. I'm gonna say this now. I expect a draw on Monday. I think it's gonna be a draw. I don't think we'll lose. I think we'll keep the unbeaten streak going. But winning in Bergamo as well would genuinely mean that Claudio Ranieri needs to do a magic test on him, because a win in Bergamo after Lazio and Juventus drew, 60% you're in the Champions League. Even 70% you're in the Champions League. If you win on Monday, 70% you're in the Champions League. I'm convinced about this. I'm not saying that it's impossible to win. We can win. We can definitely win. But we must be careful, because Atalanta is always a little dirty dog against us, you know? But no, I mean, realistically speaking, when I analyze Atalanta, I think Atalanta this season have been very, very, very influenced by their elimination from the Champions League and the way they got eliminated from the Champions League. I think before they played that tie against Club Brugge, Atalanta was in a title race. Atalanta was, they were going to have a good run in Europe. Everything was working out. They were literally equal points as Napoli and Inter. There's an Atalanta before that game, and there's an Atalanta after that game. The fact that they lost that weird game at home where Club Brugge went up by 3-0, and the fact that in the first tie they got completely robbed by that last minute penalty, which is disgusting if you look at it. In my opinion, Atalanta have been very much influenced by not necessarily by the fact that they were knocked out by Club Brugge, but how they were knocked out by Club Brugge. And I think the numbers prove this. I think Atalanta, after start of March, when they got knocked out, is a good Atalanta, yes, which wins games, yes, but is a very, very, very vulnerable Atalanta. An Atalanta which a lot of teams have stopped, especially at home. An Atalanta which a lot of teams have understood. And an Atalanta which doesn't look like they are as hungry as they were before that knockout stage. I think also, people go, if Atalanta must win on Monday because they could be potentially reintroduced in a Champions League mix. No, I disagree. Even if Atalanta lose on Monday, Atalanta are going to get third. Because then they play Genoa away, who've got nothing to play for. And then they play, I think, Parma in the last home game at home. And 99% Parma will be safe by then. So even if Atalanta lose on Monday against us, I am not buying people who go, there's a chance we get third, there's a chance Atalanta bottle it. No, Atalanta will get third, even if they lose on Monday, because even if they lose on Monday, they're going to win the two remaining games. So it's not about, again, this is where, the minority, of course, I've seen a minority of people go, if we win on Monday, we can push for a third. We're not even in the Champions League yet. I don't understand reasoning like this, thinking like this. There is no sense in even saying push for a third when we still haven't consolidated fourth. Our objective, I will go back to what I said months ago. Our objective, even today, the 10th of May, our objective, not our dream, not our, imagination. Our objective is to get in the Europa League. That is our objective. Now we're in a position where the league table says that we could be playing Champions League football. And that there is a very big chance that we could be playing Champions League football. So I wouldn't even shift the focus of the objective. The objective is Europa League football. If we get Champions League football, it's a miracle. It's not an objective. And I will always repeat this. But of course, the constellations have aligned. Games, results, our incredible 19-game unbeaten streak, everything is aligned in a position where we can look at the league table and push for Champions League football. And that's what we must do. But that is not our objective. In a sense, what I will say it before analysing Atalanta a bit more is, if we don't get Champions League football, I don't want to see people cry. I don't want to see people go, "Oh, we threw a season in the toilet." Yes, we did, but we threw the season in the toilet at the start, not at the end. There are no regrets. Right now, there are no regrets. All we get, whatever we get, will only and only be a miracle. Looking at Atalanta in terms of stamina, in terms of attention, in terms of focus, I think we will want this game more than them. Of course, they've got the Gasperini dilemma. Will he stay? Will he go? I don't know. I don't know if Gasperini... I think Gasperini leaves. I think from what he said... Gasperini will leave. But you never know in football. There are surprises. He might announce to stay another season. Look, if Gasperini becomes your manager, then we can easily win on Monday because you let us win. No, but I don't think Gasperini will be your manager. Lookman is in doubt. That's good news for us. The two biggest things that I would say regarding their injuries is Lookman is in doubt. Sky Sports said he hasn't been training with the group in these past few days. And the other thing which is very important to exploit is the fact that Atalanta's defense is halved. A lot of their defenders are injured, either suspended or injured. So Gasperini will have to invent something in terms of defensive approach, which means I would start Dovbyk and Shomurodov together because it gives you that extra offensive threat, especially against a team which will be halved in defense. And a team which isn't, even if every defender was there, Atalanta are not known for defensive performances. Atalanta's speed. Atalanta is fast football. Atalanta is playing from the back. So even if their defense was full, it's a team that you can always count in scoring goals. And I must say, recently at home, Atalanta have not been good. Atalanta recently at home have not been good. Their last home game was a 1-1 draw against Lecce, and before that, they won against Bologna, yes, but before that they lost against Lazio, and they lost actually a lot of games this season at home. So I don't think it's hard. It's hard. I'm not expecting a win. I said it. I think we'll draw on Monday, but nothing can be excluded. We're unreal. Right now we're unreal, and we are in a position where we must go all in. We must want it more than them because it means more to us than them. So it's so important. It's so important, and we must try and, make this difference noticeable on the pitch, which will ultimately give us the points. If it's 3 points, if it's 1 point, I wouldn't be mad. But we must push for the 3 points. We must. It's so important. Right. Looking at us, I know I leaked the lineup before, but I've gone with this. Now, I'll be honest with you. I've got a few questions. Because I'm not convinced. Looking back at latest 11 starting lineups, I am not sure Salamakers is going to start. But the fact that Pellegrini has been injured and got injured and his season is over, I'm like, if Pellegrini had been there, I think we would have seen Sule instead of Salamakers and Shomurodov and Pellegrini behind Dovbyk. But now that Pellegrini's injured and has ended his season, I think Ranieri will put Sule back up front next to Shomurodov behind Dovbyk and Salamakers wide. Now look, Atalanta have got good attackers. De Ketelaere, Retegui, Lookman if he plays. They've got speed up front. So I want to see Çelik instead of Hummels for various reasons. And other than that, I think that's going to be it. A lot of people were going, where is Paredes? Why is Paredes not been playing much lately? Number one, I think Ranieri sees Cristante better. Better in... right now, at time of speaking, in training sessions, I think Ranieri trusts Cristante more. But the other thing which I read, which I actually did not know, is that if Paredes plays one more game, Roma is forced to give like 3 million because of a contract clause bonus to PSG. Now, again, of course, a game which literally is the most important game of our season on Monday, because now it is. Monday's game is our most important game of the season. Of course, if we need Paredes, Ranieri will play Paredes and Roma will pay the 3 million. But I think in a situation where Ranieri doesn't see Paredes much more ahead than Cristante, combine it to the fact that if Paredes plays another game, we need to give 3 million to PSG. Not that 3 million is going to change our economic balances. That's not what I'm saying. But, it's things you can avoid, especially if you can come up with other solutions. However, I would not exclude Gournadoit in this one. I would not exclude Gournadoit because he played a great 20 minutes, in my opinion, against Fiorentina. And, Gournadoit, this is the game. A game against Atalanta, in my opinion, is the best game for him. Because Atalanta will run. That guy's got stamina. That guy brings intensity shifts. Atalanta will attack. Atalanta will want to win, of course. Their defense is not great. Intensity shift. Gournadoit is very good at collecting balls and, starting those counterattacks. Way better than Cristante. Of course, Cristante is more precise when it comes to long balls. Cristante sets the play better than Gournadoit. But Atalanta's a fast team. Gournadoit is fast, definitely faster than Cristante. And a potential Gournadoit Manu Kone couple against Atalanta would not be a bad solution in my opinion. But we'll see. I think, look, it's massive. I've said the word massive so much, but it really is massive. If Inter wins the Champions League, does it mean Serie A 5th position? No, it's done. We're not getting 5th even if Inter wins the Champions League. It's got nothing to do with Inter winning the Champions League. The coefficient of that coefficient that people look at has got nothing to do with whoever lifts the trophies. It's all got to do with how teams from one country do against teams with other countries. And the fact that Fiorentina got eliminated by Betis and we got eliminated by Athletic Bilbao puts Spain in a better position than Italy. So that 5th position is 100% gone. It's gone to England and Spain. But, speaking about future seasons, when looking at the 5th position, that extra spot, you don't need to look at who lifts the trophies. You need to look at the direct games between the countries and who wins. Because if I beat a Spanish team, I get more points than Spain. So that puts us up. But the fact that we lost against a Spanish team, the fact that Fiorentina lost to a Spanish team, the fact that even this has got nothing to do with Spain and Italy, but the fact that Lazio got eliminated very early against Bodo Glimt basically crucified that chance. But look, we knew this. It's not something new. I think the confirmation of that extra spot not going to us came about like 2 months ago, so it definitely is not an excuse. Juve win would have been devastating indeed. I mean, a Juve win would have 90% given them a Champions League spot, because I don't see Juventus not winning at home against Udinese, who's got nothing to play for. I can see Juventus maybe losing a few points away at Venezia in the last game, but only if Venezia's safety depends on that game. Otherwise, they'll win. Monday is now or never indeed. It's Champions or Conference. No, I disagree. We could get Europa League. I think it's Champions League. It's Champions League or Europa League, I think. I don't think we'll get Conference League. I think now it's between Champions League and Europa League. We can get Conference League, but Bologna have the final. Bologna's attention is on that game, and Bologna still need to play in Florence. And Lazio still need to play against Inter. I think it's between Champions League and the Europa League. I think we kind of avoided Conference League. Not officially, but seen our momentum as well. I think it's between Champions League and Europa League. 200% indeed. We must at minimum draw against Atalanta. Yeah, we must not lose. But I wouldn't massively be disappointed with a draw. Atalanta with 2 points in 3 games is in the Champions League. They have no reason to worry. I agree. I've said this already. We want it more than them. We definitely want this more than them. No one can convince me that Atalanta want this more than us. Atalanta are not the same team that they were last season. You know, um, last season Atalanta beat Bayern, never lose them 3-0. Last season, 1 year ago in May, Atalanta were one of the best teams in Europe. It's not the same Atalanta. We can definitely and we must try and exploit this. But yeah, Atalanta wants us in the Champions League rather than Juventus. I mean, is that a good point? I don't know. Atalanta are 99% of the Champions League. They don't give a damn if Roma wins. They don't want Juve to go in the Champions League. I think you'll just swap either Pizzilli or Paredes with Pellegrini and leave the same 3-5-2. What would you do if Zalewski wins the Champions League with Inter? Nothing. I mean, Zalewski winning the Champions League with Inter is like Ainsley Maitland-Niles winning the Conference League with Roma, to be honest with you. Has he even played a minute in the Champions League? I don't think he has. The website you buy Roma jerseys from, can you buy Roger Ibanez 22-23 Roma kit? I don't know, mate. Have a look. Bezura Hairulav, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. You think once Abraham comes back, Shomurodov steps back? I don't even think Abraham will come back, mate, if that answers your question. I don't think Abraham comes back. I think he doesn't. I think Milan and Roma want to try and fix a deal around the Salamakers and the Tammy swap. And I don't think we need Tammy back. Tammy Abraham is the last person that we need and is the last team that he needs. We are the last team that he needs because the fans don't like him, and he's the last player that we need. So it's like bringing Tammy Abraham back would be so stupid that it would make no sense. Gasperini will be our coach next season and he wants Roma in the Champions League. I'm not sure if it's going to be Gasperini. I still think Ranieri doesn't lie. The fact that Ranieri said it's not Gasperini, it could be, but I don't think. I mean, if Gasperini is your manager, then we'll win tomorrow. On Monday. He'll let us win because he wants Roma in the Champions League. But I don't know. I don't think it will be Gasperini. Yeah, I mean, look, Dan Fredkin is in Rome. Dan Fredkin, pictures today saw Dan Fredkin giving handshakes with Svilor, laughing around Ranieri and Ghisolfi, attending the training session. Dan Fredkin is in Rome, and I mean, you guys know it better than me. When Dan Fredkin is in Rome, it either means he sacks a manager or either means he appoints a manager. So I think the fact that Dan Fredkin is in Rome is not only strictly connected to the stadium project, which definitely has something big, but is definitely to do with the manager. You know, one-on-ones, last-minute one-on-ones. Ranieri today was following the press conference. Ranieri he's just, you can't penetrate through Ranieri. It's incredible, his master skills at avoiding questions and not making it obvious. He had like 3 journalists today who tried to get hints around the new manager, and Ranieri, with a tint of irony, mix of irony and mix of rigidity, completely shielded every single question. This manager dilemma is impossible to crack. I think we will have to see. I mean, yes, okay. The new manager waiting to see if Roma plays the Champions League is understandable. But if we're waiting for a manager to see if we play the Champions League, you're telling me that you still haven't planned the season. And that's not good. That's not good. You knew. Look, again, I'm not expecting. You knew that Ranieri was not going to stay the day you appointed him. The first thing Ranieri said is, I'm here not to stay, to help Roma, but I'm not going to stay. So you knew that you had to get a manager in November. Okay, I wasn't expecting us to get a manager immediately after, because it's impossible. Of course, managers will need time. Yes, managers will want to see where we get. But in my opinion, waiting, still not having a manager, still not knowing who our manager will be, 10th of May, 1 month to go until the preseason, is not a good sign. You need to know who you want. Then, of course, managers can reject or not. But I still think the manager is there. I still think I believe, I belong to the theorists that the manager is done and dusted, but they're waiting to announce it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they still don't have the manager, because it shows you that they lack programming. Okay, it does. It really does. I don't want Thiago Motta, no. I hope it will be either Fabregas, Farioli, Gasperini or Conte. Fabregas is going to Bayer Leverkusen as post Xabi Alonso. I mean, Conte would be a dream. Conte would be an absolute dream. Conte would be the dream. But you know, Conte needs conditions to work in. You know, I mean, look, Conte could potentially leave a team that he's won the league title with because he won't get backed. I mean, Conte is somebody who needs pre-stabilized conditions in order to work in, and at time of speaking, Roma doesn't have the conditions for Conte to flourish, because we still don't know if we're playing the Champions League, because our money is very limited, because our owners have made some very big mistakes over the last 10 months, and because our owners are very absent. Conte needs a very solid, rigid, and very, very big structure around him. The fact that we basically played an entire season with no CEO shows to you that there is no structural dimension inside this football club. And Conte is a new Mourinho. Conte is somebody who the second you do something that he doesn't like, he will end it. He will leave. How many times have we seen a manager win the league title like this out of nowhere, and maybe considering the chance of leaving because he's not getting backed? If Napoli, who won the league title, can't back Conte, I can't imagine what the Fredkins can do to him. So Conte would be a dream, but it's very unlikely that Conte would accept this current Roma situation. How do the yellow-red cards between Juve and Lazio help us in reaching top 4? No idea, mate. Really no idea. Ranieri said that there will be 2 restricted transfer windows. If we get into UCL or even UEL, what is the expectation you're making? How much we'll be able to spend? And please list 3 players you want. Oh man, that's a very tough question. I can't get. I don't know budgets. I can't do budgets. I'm not interested in budgets. I am not even a big admirer of budgets. I truly believe that you can build a good team even with a low budget. You just need a good scouting department. 3 players that I want. Realistically, I'll go with. Oh man, it's tough. I'll go with Belkema in defense from Bologna would be good. No, it's tough. It's too hard. You caught me. You caught me off guard. It's too hard. I need more time than this. Orsolini would be good because we've got a lot of, but we've got a lot of players on that side. So I would rather focus on the left side. But yeah, you get the point. I want Fabregas, says Vincent. Need to win because Juve final 2 games aren't against any heavy hitters. On paper, they should win. Frattesi depends on the price tag, as always. I would not spend more than 25 million on Frattesi. Definitely not more than 25 million on Frattesi. I can push myself to 30, but I think 30 million for Frattesi is even a lot. He plays 20 minutes. He plays 20 minutes every month. How can I possibly offer you 30 million if not more? For a player who, good job, scored a goal against Barcelona, but in every game he plays about 5 minutes. No, if that, no, I'm not spending 30 million. Right, guys, I'm going to end it. Hit the like, subscribe. Very big result coming from the Lazio game. We must try our best to win. We must give it our best on Monday because it will be the game of our life. This is my Atalanta Roma match preview. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you agreed. Let me know in the comments down below. 100 likes on this video would be great. And I'll catch you tomorrow with another live stream. Speak to you soon. Simo out.